US President Donald Trump has reached out to Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei with a proposal for a new nuclear deal in an effort to prevent military conflict. This was reported by US Special Envoy for the Middle East Steve Witkoff in an interview with Fox News. According to him, Trump remains firm in his stance that Iran must not possess nuclear weapons. On March 5, Trump sent a letter to the Iranian leadership proposing negotiations, though specific details have not been disclosed. However, Witkoff emphasized that under certain conditions, Washington does not rule out military action against Iran.
Where our signal to Iran is, let's sit down and see if we can, through dialogue, through diplomacy, get to the right place. If we can, we're prepared to do that. And if we can't, the alternative is not a great alternative. And I need to be clear so everybody understands President Trump's position on this. Iran cannot have a bomb. We cannot allow them to proceed to weaponization and a nuclear arsenal.
Tehran insists that its nuclear program is purely for peaceful purposes and denies any intent to develop nuclear weapons. However, according to recent reports by the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has begun rapidly enriching uranium up to 60%. The IAEA highlights that such levels exceed those necessary for civilian energy production. The threshold for weapons-grade uranium is 90% enrichment.
In reality, the amount of enriched uranium exceeding 60%, potentially reaching 80% or higher, suggests Iran has the capability to produce 3 to 5 nuclear warheads, though the exact number is uncertain. There are still several technological hurdles to achieving a fully operational nuclear weapon, such as adapting a warhead to a missile delivery system, which is the most complex aspect. Additionally, nuclear weapons must be tested. These issues remain unresolved, but we do not know precisely at what stage Iran currently stands.
The UK newspaper The Telegraph reports that Iran is working on nuclear warheads with a range of up to 3,000 kilometers, using technology allegedly provided by North Korea. Such a range would put Europe within striking distance. The European Union has in turn urged Tehran to abandon any pursuit of nuclear weapons.
Iran must never be allowed to acquire or build a nuclear weapon, and EU supports all diplomatic efforts to that effect.
Tehran has expressed its willingness to discuss its nuclear program with the United States administration, but according to Reuters, has set certain conditions. The Iranian foreign minister stated that dialogue with Washington is impossible unless the United States eases sanctions on the Islamic Republic.
When we say no to negotiations with the US or insist on this stance, it is based on historical experience and precedent. It is not mere stubbornness. As a negotiator and diplomat, I base this on my expertise. Under the current conditions, negotiations with the US cannot begin unless something changes.
Analysts believe that US pressure alone may not be enough to force Tehran to abandon its nuclear ambitions. This raises concerns that the possibility of air strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities cannot be ruled out.
We are currently seeing increased reconnaissance activity in the Persian Gulf region, including around Bushehr and Kish Island. Among other Iranian areas, US intelligence is actively identifying potential targets for future strikes.
Under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the official nuclear-armed states are the United States, Russia, China, France and the United Kingdom, the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. However, nuclear weapons are also possessed by India, Israel, Pakistan and North Korea, none of which have signed the treaty. According to Financial Times, Trump's policy of withdrawing security assurances to certain countries may accelerate nuclear proliferation. Analysts warn that if the NPT collapses, the number of nuclear-armed states could rise to between 15 and 25. Notably, the Globe and Mail reports that open discussions about developing a national nuclear arsenal have already begun in Canada. Reported by Katerina Bastun, Mikita Skoblikov, UATV News.
Over the next 2 years, Washington plans to increase its military presence in the Indo-Pacific region due to the growing threat posed by China. According to Reuters, the US will deploy additional forces in several nuclear-powered submarines off the coast of Australia. These measures are part of the AUKUS pact, a military-political alliance between Australia, the United Kingdom and the United States aimed at ensuring regional security.
We are in a time now where we have an opportunity to strengthen the alliance in the Indo-Pacific region, and I think this is going to be a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it.
American nuclear-powered submarines will be stationed at the HMAS Stirling Naval Base in Western Australia to prepare for the rotation of the vessels. Up to 80 US military personnel will arrive by mid-2025. Over the course of the next 2 years, their number will increase to several hundred. The base is currently being modernized. This is a strategically important site for the United States, as HMAS Stirling is located closer to Asia in the Indian Ocean than the US Pacific Fleet headquarters in Hawaii.
What they gain is the capability to operate a nuclear-powered conventionally armed warship. So the things that this brings to our Navy and to every Navy, that has nuclear-powered warships is significant and allows us to operate with essentially unlimited endurance, just limited by food.
Australia is strengthening its defense due to the potential threat from China. According to Reuters, the government plans to equip its military with modern anti-ship missiles and upgrade various defense systems. Japan is also bolstering its defense capabilities. According to Kyodo News, the authorities are considering deploying upgraded long-range Type 20 missiles in the southwest of the country on the island of Kyushu. The range of these missiles is about 1,000 kilometers.
The deployment, expected to commence at the end of the next fiscal year in March 2026, is aimed at bolstering the security of the country's southwestern Nansei Island chain, strategically important for its proximity to Taiwan, amid growing fears the self-ruled democratic island may be invaded by China. China regards Taiwan as a renegade province that must be reunified with the mainland by force if necessary, from a Kyodo News publication.
On March 14th, the member states of the G7 issued a joint statement expressing concern over the situation in the East China and South China Seas. The foreign ministers of the G7 countries consider the increase in the nuclear arsenals of China and North Korea a serious threat to international security.
We remain concerned with China's military buildup and the continued rapid increase in China's nuclear weapons arsenal. We called on China to engage in strategic risk reduction discussions and promote stability through transparency. We emphasized that China should not conduct or condone activities aimed at undermining the security and safety of our communities and the integrity of our democratic institutions. From the G7 Foreign Ministers' joint statement on the Government of Canada's website.
Beijing called the G7 statement an interference in its internal affairs and a deliberate distortion of facts. In Pyongyang, North Korea promised to further expand its nuclear arsenal. The development of nuclear weapons is considered by North Korea as its right to self-defense, according to a statement released by the state news agency. North Korea has been deploying nuclear weapons and cruise missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads since 1960s. The UN Security Council has passed several resolutions aimed at limiting North Korea's nuclear program and impose sanctions on the country. Reported by Alexander Zaslavets, Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.